if you are mentioning all of these sections transparently, then I'm pretty sure that you are surely going to have an interview call. So it's really pretty easy thing to make. Nothing matters, especially at the master's and bachelor's level. It's completely normal if you have no any publication. Hey guys, hope you all are doing great, and this video is about that how to write an effective CV, because CV is one of the most important part along with the cover letter that can help you in getting into the interview and into the shortlisting of your application. So if you are applying for the PhD or for the master's or even for the bachelor's, you really need to present yourself in the piece of a paper which is a CV, and we can also call it as resume. So let's get started. The first important part of the CV is your personal information. I have seen that most of the people, they add their home address and even their postal code in the CV, which is not really required. So you just really need to add your name and then your phone number if you are applying within a country, and your email address, and the name of the city from where you belong, and the country name. Nothing else. It's just your personal section. You don't really need to input all of the unnecessary information in the CV. These 4 or 5 things are probably enough to present yourself. And even if you have the potential for this position, then they will definitely contact you through this email. So yeah, it's just like and also you don't really need to add your picture in the CV. If you really want to, then yeah, you can, but yeah, without picture it is pretty okay. Then the second part is about your education. One of the most common mistake that the student make is like they just mention the degree and the year of pass and the year of graduation and the marks or the CGPA that they have achieved in that degree. Well, you have like a specific format to do that, because after the personal information section, you are going to give the heading of education, and then let's suppose Masters of Philosophy in Microbiology or Master of Science in Physics, like this kind of thing in the next heading, and then your CGPA, and then give a little bit a description or information about the thesis or the research which you have performed in your master's degree. And on this side, like in this side, you will be having the information about your degree name, like the Master of Philosophy or Master of Science, and then on this side you will have the year of graduation, like suppose it's 2023 or 2024, whatever it is. But don't forget to provide the information about your thesis, the information about your research which you have previously done in your particular degree. And if you have performed any research in your bachelor's, this is one of the best points that you can add in your education section of the CV. So what you have to do is similar like to the master's degree, make a new column of the bachelor's and complete name, like Bachelor of Science in Microbiology, and then your CGPA, and then in the next paragraph you're going to add all of the information of your thesis or your research which you have performed in your bachelor's. Although it would not be that much groundbreaking research, but you have done something, so you really need to mention that thing. So these are the 2 main parts, and after this you are going to mention the research experience, one of the most important part. So don't brag about yourself, just be honest, and then pay attention to your sentence structures and just like put it all of the information in it. So depending upon your niche, depending upon your expertise, divide the column of the research experience accordingly, and then add all of the related information in this. Don't brag about anything. If you don't know or if you don't have any expertise on the particular technique, just skip it. You don't really need to mention anything. And then normally the freshly graduate students, they don't have experience that much, but if you have a little bit internship or something like that you have ever done in your life, even just for the 1 month, then you can mention it in your CV that, oh, I have done this, I have done that, and then just mention the year. And you don't really need to mention the references of that job. You can add the reference column at the very end of the CV. So if somebody is really intrigued about your expertise or about yourself, then they can contact them. And also in some of the masters and PhD application, mostly they require the referee to add the references on their behalf. So you can just mention their email, and then they can have the information about yourself from your supervisor or from your promoters as well. So that's not a big deal. So for the after the research experiences, your work experience matter a lot. If it is, then even if you are very fresh graduate and you don't have any experience, nothing matters. So in my case, I was doing some jobs along with my studies, so I mentioned those things. And also, like, I got my job right after I was graduated from my master's, so I mentioned my work experiences, all of the experiences that I've done in my life. um, After the work experiences, you are going to mention all of your scholarships that you have achieved in your life. um, if you haven't achieved any scholarship, not a big deal, just skip this part. Even if a little bit, like, I remember that I received just 3,000 money in my sorry, not in masters, but in my FSC. So I also mentioned that scholarship in my CV because it was a scholarship. So even if you have a very little bit amount that you have earned through the scholarship, just mention it. So after that, publications, if you have any, then you can mention the publication. If you have not even a single publication like me, then you can completely skip this part. Nothing matters, especially at the master's and bachelor's level. It's completely normal if you have not any publication, and it doesn't play any criteria in your selection. Especially if you have a publication, then it can arise so many questions during your interview, because researcher will look up your publication and he may ask some question from you. Then be sure about everything that you are going to add in the CV. Okay. And then the conferences, it's for the research point of view, it's an important part, because if you're applying for the masters, if you are applying for the PhD, then it does really matter that how you are networking with your community, with your scientific community. So if you have ever attended any conference, regardless of the presentation of the that whether you are going to present orally or through the poster, even if you have attended, you can mention that conference in your CV. So it would be another section of your CV. Then awards would be like, because in COVID that was a very peak time to get some certifications from WHO, from other different organizations. So even if you have some certificates from from your university, you can also mention those awards. If you have volunteered yourself in some of the work of NGO or in some blood donation campaigns, you can also add that in your CV. So uh, after this awards column or section, you are going to mention your language, also mention your levels. If you have given the IELTS, then well and good. If not, then it's pretty okay. So in the language section, you are going to mention all of the languages that you mostly know. Mostly it is, in our cases, it is English and our mother language. So you can only mention these two languages. Nothing matter. And after that, your interests and activities. In this section, you are going to mention all of your extracurricular activities that you have done from your metric to your master's, or from your metric to your bachelor's. You can add all of those extracurricular activities in this section, and at the end you can add the references. So CV is very pretty easy thing to make. It's the only thing that can decide your personality. So be concise and be honest, be transparent. Don't brag about yourself, don't exaggerate anything. If you have some expertise, if you have some experience, do mention it. If you don't, You don't really need to mention. You are not a master's. You are going for the PhD to become a master. So it's same for the master's degree as well. So collectively, in short, if I repeat all of the sections that you really need to mention in your CV, is like your personal information, your education, your research experience, your work experience, your scholarships, your publications, your conferences, your awards, your language, your interests, and your references. Nothing else. If you are mentioning all of these sections transparently, then I'm pretty sure that you are surely going to have an interview call. So best of luck in your scholarship hunting process. And if you have any question, do not hesitate to contact me via email, via Instagram, via LinkedIn, whatever suits you. So bye bye. Have a nice scholarship hunting journey. Best of luck.